An irregular migrant could be anyone, man or woman, young or old. Some have taken huge risks to move from their country of origin to another one. Others have been forced to flee their homes. But what is common between them all is that they do not have a legal right to stay in the country where they are living. Without this legal right, they do not have access to public services as normal people living in that country do. They're also often exploited because of their irregular status, and do not ask for their rights for fear of being made to leave the country. As a result, irregular migrants often live in destitution and marginalization. But what exactly are irregular migrants, and why do they leave their homes for another country? While there's no universally accepted definition of an irregular migrant, the term generally refers to people who cross international borders outside the legal or regulatory norms of the sending, transit, or destination countries, or are staying or working in a country without lawful authority. This could mean leaving a country without a valid passport or on forged documents, and entering, staying, or working in the destination country without a valid visa or a residence or work permit. Many people leave their homes in search of a better life, sometimes undertaking dangerous journeys. Some migrants travel on their own. Others engage and pay a one-time smuggler or a criminal group to help them travel across one or more international borders illegally to reach their destination. This is known as the smuggling of migrants and is a crime in many countries. Not only does this violate immigration laws, but it also exposes migrants to extreme risks, including death. Some migrants enter a country legally, usually on a visa, but then overstay the visa period or violate the terms of the visa, for example, by undertaking work without authorization. This process essentially changes their status from legal to irregular. Others migrate lured by false promises of a decent life and decent work, then find themselves forced into sexual exploitation. Others are tricked into forced labor or domestic servitude. Some are even exploited for organ harvesting or in other ways for profit. They cannot leave. Often they have been trapped by debt bondage or had their identity documents confiscated. They are caught in modern slavery. This is known as human trafficking and is a serious crime in countries around the world and under international law. Refugees, forced to flee their homes due to conflict, violence, or some other form of persecution, may often enter other countries irregularly, but they're protected under international law and cannot be sent back home because that would risk their lives or freedoms. One model used to understand why people migrate abroad is the push and pull model. It states that people migrate from their home countries due to a range of factors that push them to leave, such as low incomes or a lack of jobs and opportunities, religious persecution or a high crime rate, oppressive governments or war and conflict. Conversely, destination countries attract or pull migrants to them due to factors such as greater economic opportunities and higher living standards, or better educational opportunities and good healthcare, or because they have peaceful, free, and democratic societies. These factors can be grouped into categories such as economic, social, and political, and in most cases, a migrant will choose to move to another country due to a mix of both push and pull factors. The UN estimates that in 2019, the total number of international migrants, both regular and irregular, was 272 million people, or 3.5% of the world's population. Because irregular migration operates outside the law, it is difficult to gather accurate statistics on it. But in 2009, it was estimated that there were about 50 million migrants whose status was irregular. Some reliable estimates suggest that there are 10.5 million irregular migrants in the United States, 5 to 6 million in Russia, and between 3.9 and 4.8 million in Europe. To tackle the many dangers associated with irregular migration, this issue has to be firmly understood and analyzed to devise effective global, regional, and local solutions to it. These solutions must not only punish those exploiting vulnerable migrants, but also protect their victims and address the root causes of irregular migration.